This is exciting. We have been working on this for months, and I want to introduce you to the man. Well, first of all, we're in good hands. He knows these offers ins and outs, but he's the reason that we have this show. Nick is joining us, and you bring in Dynamic Forces. This has been a company that's been around for over 20 years.
For over 20 years, and I'll put it to you like this: Dynamic Forces, we deal in collectibles. We create collectibles. We bring it to the audience. The thing is at the end of the day, and I'm biased in saying this, but we're a cheerleader for comics. We want fans to read as many comics as possible, and we want to bring in as many fans as we can. We definitely hit on the collectible nature of each item, but we want to also educate you. We want to inform you about comics. So even if you don't buy something here and you buy comics elsewhere, you're part of the family.
We want you to enjoy it.
Exactly.
I mean, it really is that wonderful escape. So Nick Berrucci is joining us.
Hand-drawn right here. I got to mention that.
Yeah, we got to get in this right away. So what we have, Batman and Superman.
First meeting.
Two heroes together. First meeting?
First meeting in the new 52.
And then this one, too, you can see is a remarked.
Hand-drawn. Each one is different. So I'm going to pull the other one up so you can see. You see how this one is drawn?
Yeah, I can hold one for you.
I'm coordinated. You see how they're drawn differently? Each one is a different drawing. You may end up having two that are similar, but they are honestly all different because they're hand-drawn. And this is by Jay Lee. One of the first Marvel artists who won an Eisner back in the 90s, helped reinvigorate Marvel with Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti on Marvel Knights. It's really exciting, certificate of authenticity, but we have special guests, don't we?
We sure do. This is exciting. Not only is Nick here, but we actually have two big fan of comic books. In fact, I want to talk about our wonderful surprise that we have. So we're being joined right now by two comic bloggers. Joining us via Skype, we have Eric Shea, and an avid comic book collector for over 20 years. And we have Jim Werner, who's been an avid comic fan for over 3 years. Now, Eric and Jim are bloggers whose fan site focuses on DC Comics called Weird Science Comics Blogs.blogspot.com. And they've been writing the blog for nearly 2 years and doing podcasts for the past 3 months. And we're so glad that they're here. They're avid collectors. And joining us on the phone right now, we have Jim. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing great.
So glad that you're joining us. So what advice do you have for somebody that maybe is starting to be a comic book collector?
Well, first off, just you have to get over the fact that when I was growing up, comics were for nerds. And that's not the case anymore.
No, it's not.
You have to get over that fact. First off, I'm in my 40s. I have 5 kids, and I'm a huge comic fan. So it's not a typical thing where it's just some group. You just got to go out and get it. And as you mentioned before, a great thing to do is start with number one. You grab a comic that comes out, something that interests you, like the Star Wars comics you've been having on. That's a great way to jump in. Get interest you have, something that draws you in, and then I'm guaranteeing you'll find something that you'll love, something that you'll latch on to.
Okay, now let's talk about the offer that we have right now. So this is the Batman and Superman, and what makes this appealing to comic book collectors?
Well, like I said, first off, it's a number one. It's Batman and Superman, so right away that's going to be great. But the big thing, 2 things. It's Greg Pak's first book on DC, which is huge, but it's the Jay Lee cover right there. This is a unique cover that you don't get anywhere else. It's you buy this, it's yours. It's your one cover. And in fact, I pulled out my issue to read tonight, and I looked at my regular cover and just shook my head. I want the Jay Lee cover.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. And now we also want to speak to Eric Shea, who's actually joining us via Skype.
There we go.
Hey, there he is. Eric is joining us. Hi, Eric. Thanks for being part of the show. So glad to have you here. So what do you think is so appealing about the Superman and Batman comic that we're talking about?
Well, this is a really cool issue because not only is it the first meeting between Batman and Superman of the new rebooted New 52 universe, but it's a story that also leads to their interactions with their Earth 2 counterparts, which are older characters.
Comics are just that. They're imaginative. They're flights of fancy. It's good versus evil. This is a great jumping on point. I mean, these guys are really passionate just like I am. And it's
I
great
know.
to get another voice expressing to the audience how important comics are. Because, honestly, I was telling you this, comics actually helped me learn the English language, which
Yep.
was great for me as a kid. So, and it really developed my imagination. It helped me through school. And one day I'm going to graduate.
Well, I'm so glad that Eric and Jim can join us, and either one of you can jump in. Just thanks for being part of the show. So with comics, what do you get out of it? I mean, why are you so fanatics about comic books?
I love superheroes and I'm an escapist, so this is really a world that I can get into. There's nothing better than having good versus evil and portrayed with these great characters from DC Comics.
I agree. It is an escape, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The one thing about good versus evil, he's right. The adventures, it's not just about good overcoming evil. It's the journey. It's also what they sacrifice to win the day. There is no, this isn't, the one thing about comics, Batman's been around 75 years. It's all about the road and how you change the road and what he had to do, what he had to sacrifice, because the writers and the artists have to stay contemporary. They have to give you something new to keep you engaged. Otherwise, these characters wouldn't be being published today.
So I have a question.
And this is rare. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So Jim, you still on the phone there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I know you kind of looked at some of the things that are in the show right now. What are the things that are really perking your interest?
Well, I like the bunch of every Star Wars I love. Actually, I really like the Princess Leia.
That was popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Star Wars.
The
as well.
Yoda cover was great too.
And yes.
No, thank you, man. You know what? It's really rewarding to hear a fan saying that because it helps hammer in that we're doing our job.
Yeah.
So thank you, guys.
Yep, no
thank you.
problem.
Thanks for being part of the show. We really appreciate it. Keep on watching. And also tell us again where we can find out more about your blog. Where do we go?
Well, actually, the site is Weird Science DC Comics blog.blogspot.com. You can find us on Twitter at Weird Science DC, and our podcast is Weird Science DC Comics Podcast.
Thank you guys so much. Again, Eric Shea. I also want to thank Jim Werner for joining us as well. You guys are great, really adding to the show. And this is what we want to do more of. We want to connect. We want really this to be a dialogue and to find out what you're buying and what you're looking for and what you're adding to your collection. And also just give you this information. This, again, is done by hand.
By hand, each one by Jay Lee. And trust me, this was not easy. He did not do that many, and he did it because I begged and pleaded. And you know what? It's just a great thing to bring to the audience today.